Okay, that's recording.
Neat.
Alright. So I said I was going to use this for editing, and I most likely will, but I had an idea for a new story pop into my head. Writing a story is a creative process. It's more than just putting words to paper, because for writing to happen and for you to truly encompass everything, you have to see it in your own mind first. And then you have to use your hands to translate what you see in your head onto paper. It doesn't always come out clearly, it doesn't always come out properly. But that's what first and second and even third or fourth drafts are for. You write a simple sentence, something casual, something normal. He sat up in bed. Okay, it's his action. Let's describe a little more. Okay. Ooh, fat fingered that one. He sat up in bed. The cold sweat dampened the sheets around him. The nightmare was already fading from his mind. The last wisps You know what? I like that better. Hold on. No, I'm sticking with wisps. But let's make it a little longer. Shadows and darkness. So No, I spelled that wrong. I think it's supposed to be two E's. A. Nah. 3 college English courses, and sentence structure comes to me. Words blur a little bit more now. I know them, but that's what we have spell check for. Being ripped from the driver's seat in his conscious mind, hopped up on adrenaline. And adrenaline? No, not and, on. See, that does make it sound a little bit like he peed himself. Just a cold sweat. I promise, he didn't pee himself. Lean over to check the time on the phone. I will call him Andrew. Names change. One of my favorite tools, you get your spelling, thesaurus, word check, redact, auto redact, but where is the... There's usually a find/replace button, but I'm guessing that would probably be the redact? Yeah, I don't... This isn't the Windows I grew up with. This is... text box shape. This is, as you can see, Edit Docs Plus, because Windows got freaking greedy and wants $150 a year for the full package, which I could probably use for school, but I'm not paying $150 a year for something that used to be free and came with Windows. We already pay an arm and a leg and your firstborn for the freaking Windows itself. Oh, there it is. Find and replace. So with that, I can click on that. I can find Andrew and replace it with Bobby. Find all. Replace all. Oh, that does not say Bobby. This is... Wait. No. Hold on. I double tapped the wrong button. Replace all. No, wait. Keep in mind it is currently 12:22. I'm tired, folks, but this is in my head. There we go. Bobby. Again, this is what this is for. But again, Bobby. For right now, we'll stick with Andrew. Find all, replace all. So, with this in mind, it doesn't matter what you name a character. If you just pick a name, pick a placeholder. I usually go with my own name. Instead of doing Andrew, I usually go Chris. Or I'll use one of the characters from one of my other books. Irthamide. Dimitri. I've got a sampling of them. I even go Jonok. Well, let's stick with Andrew for right now, because Andrew's fine. I even have one character whose last name is Faust. But, yeah, we'll go with Andrew. Leaning over to check the time on his phone. Alright, so, now, with the words, there's certain ways that you could do it. I could come up here and instead of separating it out completely, I can add it as part of the body of the paragraph. The comma is a pause mark, where the quotation marks begin the beginning of the... Ew. 3 dots. 3. Ellipses. The ellipses, just like, ew, inhale, exhale, inhale. That's the way I think of the ellipses. Inhale, exhale, inhale. That's why I usually do 3. You notice when I hit back, it deleted them all instantly. Now, because I'm going to continue the line forward, I hit a comma instead of that, so I can put in what's going on, the description, and then I come to the next one. Alright. Come on. The one thing that most people hate for crap like this. Turdy. Because he's a New Yorker, he's 30. No, sorry. 30 minutes before my alarm went off. Alright, now this is saying this is wrong. Dear, period, quotation mark, that ends the sentence. Now I see O, U, oog, or og. See, no, I'm gonna ignore that. Everybody hates waking up before the time comes off, hence the curse. Alright, now, obviously, that is not supposed to be quotations. Doop. That is supposed to be a... I was going to say comma, but that's not a comma. Not a parentheses. It's a that. Again, it's 12 o'clock in the morning, and or almost little half past 12, so my brain is not fully working. Now, instead of going any further with this, let's jump back up to here. He sat up in bed. Okay. He said, he jolted up into bed. Up in bed. Let me see. What do I think of that? He jolted up in bed. 90s energy Rick and Soda jolt. Spring. Up in bed. He burst from his sheets. No. He flung the comforter. No. It is a matter of finding... Or, he said, bolt upright in bed. Which upright would not be 2 words, it would be 1 word. He sat bolt upright in bed. A cold sweat had dampened the sheets around him. Instead of the, maybe his nightmare was already fading from his mind. instead of from his mind, into the recesses of his mind. Is that right? That? And then, ooh, clone formatting, no. Character, emphasis. Ooh. That is not what I meant to do, but I like it. I was trying to get a better definition, which that used to be tools. Thesaurus. There we go. Current word reverse. Deferral. Suspension. Recession. Niche. Corner. Concave shape. Concavity. Inlet. Body of water. Niche. Enclosure. Respite. Break. Timeout. Pause. And you see it gives you ambiance. Obviously that's not ambiance. Abeyance. No, I'm good. I'll stick with recesses. The last wisps of the shadows and darkness were already blurred by his subconscious mind being ripped from the driver's seat, and his conscious mind, hopped up on adrenaline, sliding into place and drifting his body up and out of the warm embrace of his now wet sheets. Let's change wet. What do I want to change wet to? Don't want to say damp because I've already put dampened. There's too many negative connotations with the word moist. So I can't do moist. Well, let's see. We'll type wet back in there. Come back over here. Go back to tools. Hit thesaurus again. Dewy, best parent, sprinkled, boggy, marshy, boggy. It's now boggy sheets, marshy sheets, mirry, mucky, quaggy, sloppy, swampy, clammy. If I'm not mistaken. See, I used damp again here. See, you can't use moist. Drenched. Actually, you know what? I think for this one, I will go waterlogged. And instead of saying damp, that conveys the wetness, but it doesn't convey that it was a cold sweat. So let's go back into that. I don't even need to do that. We're gonna go clammy. His lammy, yeah, his lammy. That's it. No, clammy. Was there two? Am I screwing shit up? It's not telling me it's wrong, but let's do that. It's still not telling me it's wrong. See, this is the one thing I don't like about using this, because nothing comes up for that. Now we hit 2 M's, dank, wet. Okay, so I was right the first time. I second guess myself. This is what happens on my exams too. Okay. Cursed and dropped face first into his clammy pillow with a splat. Ew. Andrew's response was muffled by his pillow. He pushed back up. No. With a push-up, he rose up. Now, see, that's up twice. Out of his pillow bog. You like that? Instead of boggy, turn into a pillow bog. Cold and slimy. Edge of the case. Sliding off his cheek. It doesn't like my ew and it doesn't like my slimy. So I was right the first time, slimy. The cold and slimy edge of the case sliding off of his cheek. 30 minutes before my alarm. Go off. Alright, now you see how I've already changed it. It went from generic to something that the thought of it makes you want to cringe. And a lot of people are like, okay, I gotta make people fall in love with it. The first few sentences, I gotta make sure that we get this right. How many of you, but it's not about making people fall in love with your writing. Whether they like it or they hate it, they're going to be thinking about it. So, and this, that encompasses two things. Who hasn't woken up in a cold sweat before because of some nightmare? Okay, maybe some people, but I know I have. And the way your brain has kind of a reverse microwave burrito feeling, where it's warm on the inside and cold on the outside. Whereas a microwave burrito filling would be warm on the outside, cold on the inside. That burst of adrenaline will awaken your inner mind and get your conscious mind moving, but you still feel numb on the outside. So that's your reverse microwave burrito. The way the subconscious, the description of the memories of the nightmare drifting out of his mind the way it did. It didn't drift out of his mind. It was ripped. And then, of course, the dreaded waking up just before your alarm clock's supposed to go off, so you know you're losing out on sleep that you so desperately wanted. Pulling himself the remainder of the way out of bed, Andrew proceeded to change his bed's dressings. Oh, it's called a... Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. It's called a bed skirt. It's the part that hangs down over the box spring and covers the underside of the bed. So, dressings. Anywho. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Where do I go from here? Into the dryer. Minutes. Now, some of you may be wondering, okay, you're going into detail on that. Well, just in case you ever have the issue, you know. It doesn't have to be 90 minutes, but, you know, my dryer, the one that we bought not too long ago, has a 90-minute setting to it. It has a 15, 30, 45, or 15, yeah, I think it's 15, 30, 45, 60, and 90. Well, I want my pillow to be nice and fluffy. And I would put it in there for an hour and for the full hour and a half, because if it gets done before before I leave, I'm gonna be tempted to crawl back into bed with a nice warm pillow. So you don't want it to come out before you can always get your pillow out of the dryer after you get home. And if it's a cold day, you set it for another 15 minutes on medium heat. It'll warm your pillow up, so when you crawl into bed with it, it's already nice and warm, and you already could tell your mouth's gonna come up and you're gonna drool a little bit. No, sorry. But we're gonna change this a little bit. No. One capital, not two. After tossing his pillow and 2 dryer sheets into the dryer for a 90-minute medium heat spin, beneath the gentle downpour of a shower. Normally I do this with music, but I don't want to get copyrighted, so. Shaking himself once to remove the cobwebs attempting to cloud his thoughts. We've all been there. At some point or another, we've all been in this situation. No. I'm awake now. There's no going back to sleep. This is just the way it is. He cracked his neck and recited to himself. Game plan of the day. Boss's name. We've all had that one boss that we're like, Oh, he's gonna talk to me. I just know he's gonna talk. Is there a way I can get out of him talking to me? We're gonna call him Dion. A D. Deal. D. Dion. Minutes. See, Larry just flowed out that time. I wasn't too worried about it. Which until Andrew had taken. Don't need the comma. The thought of TPS reports, which until Andrew had taken accounting courses, he had thought they were not real. Which until Andrew had actually, no, the comma does need to be there because it's now switching from Andrew to he. I'll know this better in the morning than I do now. Okay. Which until Andrew had taken accounting courses, he had thought were not real. No, actually, no comma. Now then, the thought of TPS reports, which until Andrew had taken accounting courses, he had thought that were not real. Okay, no, cut the they out. Cut the they out. It changed the syntax of the sentence, which until Andrew had taken accounting courses he had thought were not real. There we go. Which TPS reports are a thing in accounting. And from what I'm told, they're very annoying. No, don't ask me to tell you what TPS means. I could look it up, but I'm not going to do that because it's 1:03 in the morning. Now then, the thought of TPS reports, comma, which is a break in that thought to give you this information here till the next comma. And then, so the way you would read it is pretend like the which to the real from comma to comma is going to be separate. So the thought of TPS reports brought delightful scene of destruction from his memories. Destruction up from his. Now then, another way. If I was writing this to be a screenplay, there'd be a little bit more to it than this. At the top of the page, it would say, X or int for X for exterior, int for interior. And then for things he's saying, it'd be more like this. Hold on, it'd be like this. Andrew colon space. Ew. Better. Let's do the exclamation point. Ew. Then it would go into below that it would say in parentheses voice muffled by pillow. And then it would go into more action. It would be pretty much that exact line. Then it would go to Andrew again, and he'd be saying what he says next. There's more to it for the screenplay. I've been wanting to adapt some of my work into screenplays, and I have not gotten around to that yet. But that TV's a delightful scene of destruction up from his memories. I'll rewatch that movie later. No, that I'll come back on. Comma. Or at the end of it, I could, instead of adding that in there, I could, I'll rewatch that later, comma, quotations, he said with a smile, comma, quotations to open it back up, and then it goes back on with him talking about it. But you know what? Yeah, I think I'll do it that way. Oopsie. And then, of course, there's always the undo, undo. There we go. My reports. It's kind of creepy. Over here. Lightly tapped. I don't want you to think he's trying to give himself brain damage. In his defense, though. Right. Um. Right. Time to go home again. Jiggity jog. So screw that, I'm going out. Strapped. Draped. Oh, wait. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, y'all may be able to see my, huh. So y'all can see the time. Y'all see what everything I'm looking at. You're not just looking at the page. Well, then you can see everything I have. So I turn in the reports. It'll be time to go home again. My wife is out of town on business, and I have the house to myself. So screw that. I'm going out. How of you have gotten a free night away from any obligations whatsoever, and had the money, and weren't worried about paying bills, and I guess that's a fantasy right there, not worrying about paying bills. Andrew found himself dressed and eating a slice of buttered toast. He looked back into the living room. Confused. When did I get dressed? Sometimes if I want to do something but I don't know what I want to do, not that one. I'll use these right here. I'll do insert brand name here. I'll just put a generic energy drink, and then if I decide I want to do Monster, I'll put Monster. If I want to do Red Bull, Venom. Venom was one of my go-tos before I started watching my sugar. Now they're Mojave, Mojave, the freaking purple one. It's a grape flavor. It used to be sugar-free. It was their low carb. It is no longer low carb. They got PC'd bad. Everything got changed around on it. Folks, leave my energy drinks alone. Stop changing my damn names. Shit. But in this case, it doesn't matter which energy drink. Putting just a generic energy drink there, if it does well and it makes it getting the book written, Gridge. No, he grabbed the energy drink from the Ridge. fridge. Um, Getting the full book written is the first task. The second task is trying to find a literary agent because very few publishing companies will take a work that isn't already supported by a literary agent. Uh, there's a list of them, which, if any of y'all are interested, let me know in the comments. I will, and I'll post my link. I'll copy the link and I'll post it for that list of the list of publishing companies that don't require a literary agent. It does give you a full list of their criteria. It's like one of them even says specifically that they don't work with books that were previously published on Amazon Prime, because you can self-publish for free on Amazon Prime. But if you want it to be publicized, you have to pay for publicity, for advertisements and stuff like that. You have to pay for that. Mine said my one of my previous books that I'm glad nobody really found it, but it needed serious editing. That's one of the ones we're going to be working on here. But yeah, normally I'll have either the speakers playing music, but I've got the wifey asleep in the back room, my son Ethan asleep in his room, wifey's Christy, by the way, the dog asleep in the kitchen, our roommate Eric asleep in his room, which he should be getting up here probably here in a bit, unless he's off this weekend. But yeah, like I said, either headphones. I'd be blaring music. I'd have music going, but again, I don't want to have this flagged for trademark infringement. Anywho, moving on. I'm out of it this morning. Snugging an energy drink from the fridge. Energy drink from the fridge. And a suit jacket from the hook next to the door. Drew. 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 Oh, excuse me. Reverse space and punctuation. Just ignore that. Thank you. Okay, you know what? Hold on. I'm doing everything else where I'm spelling out the numbers. Hold on. 40 hyphen 5. There you go. Perdon, Ordon, Pedon. Yes, it's the Pedon. What? Okay, fine. Predon. Now, because I don't trust it, I do this. And I go tools, and I go thesaurus. No. Early. Aboriginal advanced. Early-ish, premature. Proto. Kind of like that. Proto. Aye, it's the wee hours of the morning. Aye, that's right. I said it in an Irish accent. It's the wee hours of the morning now. Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta tell you, this is not... Oh, sorry. Now imagine me going through an entire D&D campaign speaking in that voice. Wee hours. Okay, so... Rude, primitive, crude. You're rude, crude. Precocious. See, hold on a second. Now I'm gonna bring out the good old...
I'm about to whip somebody's ass.
Yes, lovey heart. Okay, I'll be there in a minute. Bye. Never fails. Pre-dawn?
Pre-dawn means the period just before sunrise, a time of darkness or dim light. Synonyms include before dawn and early morning. Twilight can also be used.
Yeah, thank you.
But it can also...
Thank you. No, I had it spelled right. I don't know why it said the hyphen it wasn't correct. Pre-dawn. When the matte black 45 caliber pistol raised out of the shadows of the pre-dawn morning. Sheltered by his front porch. with a sinister sneer. We're coming for you. Bang! And the gun went off with a tongue of flame chasing. But time froze as the bullet. And that's when my brain just cut off. So, we are going to stop right here. I hope y'all have enjoyed the video. I certainly enjoyed this. That's an hour. Of course, I was yammering on like I was, but that was an hour. 594 words, 326 characters, almost one full page. Hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to ring the notification bell. And let me know in the comments if you like this. Let me know what you think of what I wrote. Just give me some feedback. Let me know, and I will be more than happy to talk with you. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have yourselves a great Sunday morning, and I will talk to you later. Peace.